Hey guys, welcome back to D&D with Filthy and Friends. It's going to be a slightly compressed episode, but so let's just do a very brief recap. We've made it down the river to Waterdeep, have split up to start accomplishing our goals here. We're just about to find out what we learned about researching the cults that are causing us so much trouble. So, Adam, what are we finding in this giant scholarly library?
Okay. As you begin your research, you can't really see too much about these runes and these symbols. It's hard for you to pin down information about that. They seem to be obviously you know that they're related to the different elements. You find books that show this symbol is related to earth and show this symbol is related to air and show this symbol is related to fire, etc. But there's nothing concrete about each individual cult. However, the more you go into it, the more you start to see that the area that these cultists are kind of working from within the valley may be a hint towards something known as elemental evil. And as you start, reading these books about that, you learn that there are princes and princesses that are like elders of each of these powers of air, earth, fire, and water. There are very powerful beings in these, in each of the specific, earth, fire, water, air realms, that perhaps these cultists may be trying to either summon or empower or, bring into this realm.
And
And that would,
these elders,
well,
are they in of themselves evil? So are these
um,
elders of evil, or are these elders of this force, and these cultists are trying to use this force for evil?
it's kind of a mix of both.
Okay.
Some of the alignments of these prince or princesses are, for example, Hydra, who you learn about, who's the princess of evil water, who is an arcanomental from the elemental plane of water. You learn that this is a neutral evil being that is like a huge cresting wave, but perhaps they are trying to push the machinations of this being to do something worse. So, although they are neutral evil, they may be pushed into a more chaotic or maybe pushed into a more, different way of being evil.
And these elders, are they sentient in the sense that we're sentient, or are they more elemental in terms of they're just like a power with,
They're
like?
almost on par with like a deity. They're not quite a god, but they are a strong manifestation of the element that they represent.
Okay.
That they are very, very powerful beings.
Okay.
And you feel that from what you've observed and what you learn about Gar and the information that Tim got from his journal, that perhaps at least the water cult seems to be pushing to maybe summon Hydra. You don't know much about the others because you haven't really explored their areas, but the most information you've got is about the water cult, and you can sort of see that they might be trying to summon this big, powerful being of this elemental power. And that's the kind of feeling you get from that.
Okay. Anything on the scrying? Are there,
So you
go on, sir.
go on.
Are there more details of these cults? Like, when was the last time these cults were? Are these cults just cults that are worshipped around the world? But they sound like evil cults, therefore it seems like they'd be restricted. Like, are they something specific to this region? Like, why is there a resurgence of this cult, or just a manifestation of this cult in our area?
Okay. You roll another investigation, Tim. As you guys sort of spend a little bit more time. Okay, so you learn that the cults themselves are linked to their symbology and linked to the beings that you've already learned about. They're not necessarily pinned into this area that you're in. They are located around places of great power that are related to those elements. So as you begin to sort of go further and further into these books that Tim sort of pulls off the shelf for you, you learn that maybe there could be these nodes or these areas of power beneath the hills that could be giving rise to these cultists. Like these water cultists may have found a place of water power, or the earth cultists may have found a place of earth power. You're not certain of this, but you're reading about it and you know that it exists, and that could be an idea. Or maybe they don't have any of these places of power and they're just combining their forces as 4 of them to maybe try and create something.
I suggest to Tim that our castle is going to be a particularly high land value if this area is tapped full of power. But anyways.
Yep. I think, what was the other thing you asked before that? There was another question. Scrying, that was it. So after sort of me, flicking through a few books, maybe talking to Tim, maybe talking to the guy at the sort of the library itself, you can kind of discern that Gar,
the cashier,
the guy that you fought, would have been of capable level to be able to scry, and that perhaps they have, you could logically think maybe they have other people that are capable of this. So hang on one second. You know that scrying means they have the ability to essentially watch you from afar, as long as they have some kind of link to you, whether that's a piece of hair or something you may have worn, some of your blood perhaps, and you know that you've been through these countless fights and moments in time throughout the campaign where someone may have been able to take these parts from you, and so that it's easily within the realm of logic and ability that they could be watching you right now.
So the next thing I look up then while we're here is what to do about scrying as a more general thing. How do you block scrying or protect yourself from that?
Chakolth. Just blocking magic. Naive.
You know that scrying is a very high, powerful magic ability, and it would take either some kind of very strong magical item, or either a strong magical user or multiple weaker magical users to prevent this kind of magic.
There's a place for you, Tim.
I think we hire the 6 dwarves to just go around naked, and that and follow us, and that will prevent all scrying.
It's an interesting idea. All right. Okay.
I'm trying to think of how much gold that would cost.
Unless
they're happy to do that for free as well.
Yeah, right.
Turns out they're nudist fish.
Yeah. Oh, we would have just done it if you asked.
All right. So that was basically what we wanted to know then.
Okay.
I guess the only other thing would be, so place of power. When are the dates of these books? So like, what are they when they're talking about these other cults? Is this like something that happened thousands of years ago? Is it kind of like who's it's like a list of who's popular today, or what?
It's almost like moments in time where places like you imagine like a big event happens at a place, and then many years later a group of, say, like if you imagine in modern times a group of archaeologists go to this place. So in D&D terms, maybe a group of mages, clerics, and people go to investigate this place where something happened, and they discover that there's a big node of power there. So it's kind of like it's split throughout time in certain instances. It's like there was a big thing that happened here, and it was investigated, and it turns out there was a node of power there that was related to maybe the fire elemental, and then that's where the fire element symbol comes up. And then in another book, there's a big, huge earthquake, and there's a crack in a huge canyon. That's a big earth elemental problem. And these things appear to be individual. So it's almost like there's an air problem here, there's an earth problem there, there's a fire problem there. But this is the first time you've kind of felt, or at least researched, the presence of more than one element, and it's very, very surprising that there's all 4 present.
Global warming.
Right.
Man-made change. I see.
Starts to snow outside.
All right. Well, why don't we see what Thaddeus and Dolphidius are doing during this?
Sure.
Sure.
So what do you guys do?
So where are we headed? We said we were headed towards the merchant.
Yeah, like the trade district, I suppose.
Okay.
So like kind of over here.
So we walk towards the trade district. On the way, I'm explaining to Thaddeus that I'm indeed not a barbarian. I'm doing different minor cantrips, nothing too flashy to draw too much attention, but I'm like creating some light in my hand, maybe like a little bit of sacred flame, just as kind of a gesture of like, hey, I'm a magic user. But I just basically synced it with, yes, I'm not a barbarian.
Okay.
I'm not walking, I'm riding my horse.
So I'm having to talk.
So-
Said with such definitive
Scorn.
So let me
Right.
let me see if I understand. You are a heathen worshipper of a false god?
My god is just as real as yours.
I'm willing to not kill you immediately, and we'll adventure together and
Until your barbarian magic teaches me something useful.
Again, not a barbarian.
I apologize. Your nudity threw me. Perhaps your time with the sea hag has addled your senses and your member. I say we drop it and move on with our business.
Yes. So are we specifically going to meet with somebody?
No.
Do we have the name of the person?
No, there's no person. That's what I was asking earlier. You just have a district.
We just have a district.
Yeah, you're not trying to find someone in it. You're just trying to find a merchant who will fulfill this deal as opposed to a specific merchant who will fulfill it.
Okay. So we need to find a merchant. How should we handle that?
I'm going to use my Heart of Darkness on like the first like fruit vendor on the edge of the trade district, and I'm going to say
Fuck that fruit vendor in particular.
and I'm going to say I need to know the merchant here who will give me the best deal, who is honest and who loves Moradin.
Or so help me, dwarf, I will kill you all.
What's that skill do again?
Pardon me?
What's that skill do?
Apparently the
Makes-
best
makes-
persuasion thing ever.
Makes me invulnerable to all things. No. Let me click it for you.
So you walk up to him and ask him. Could you repeat that? Sorry, again?
To guide me to a trustworthy dwarven vendor who is honest and reasonable.
And Adam, this first merchant just happens to be, you know, sometimes like they'll have children will help like watch a stall for someone like selling fruit. So this is like a 13-year-old girl, right? Like he like looks deep into her eyes and like conveys the horror of his being and the demons inside of him to convey the compliance from this, and it's just like,
What?
Meanwhile, I'm walking up, just kind of gesture kindly, like a little slight wave and bow, like as is tradition from where I'm from, and meanwhile
see-
he's giving the glare of death.
You see Thaddeus stare directly into this lady's eyes with a strange, pervasive, determined look as he asks this question. And she seems almost fearful of her life as she responds with, "A trustworthy dwarf. You should try down here." And she sort of, discreetly gives you these directions and then sort of starts backing away behind her stall almost. Hello, Skype. Thank
That
you.
was
Did
Skype time.
you hear me?
yeah, I
Can you
can
hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I-
Good. Continue.
Can you see me still, Kevin?
No, everybody's gone. I just
Okay,
hear. I hear you all.
Oh,
maybe we'll come back in
You
a
could
second.
try
I can see
rejoining,
everybody.
maybe. You could try rejoining.
It's a good idea.
Yep.
Okay. So Thaddeus has unveiled death gaze on this person, and how long does she have to
this
live now?
ability is ridiculous.
7 days.
7 days.
It's like the death touch, but it's a death gaze. So she only has 7 days to live now.
What?
Yeah.
So, she kind of gives you like good, accurate directions, and then tries to stay as far away from you as she can. Not like in a scared manner, but almost like you're just a bit too intense for her right now.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help. The blessing of Moradin upon you.
She kind of nods and sort of.
As she backs away, because you say she backs away and goes kind of behind the cart and everything like that to get out of the line of sight and everything, and I just say, "Hey, that was great. Are you gonna do that every time?"
Did you say that to Thaddeus?
Yeah, I say that to Thaddeus.
Do
Martin,
what?
Martin is blessing me because he's trying to rebrand. He's got this like old Thaddeus guy.
He's let you join to lighten things up a little.
Yeah, so I realize that Thaddeus seems like he has no idea what he's doing. I mean, I need to roll insight on that, do I? It strikes me that Thaddeus doesn't even realize he has this power, Heart of Darkness. It just almost seems like it's just happening, and he's just kind of like, he happens to get the benefits of it.
He orders burritos in the same tone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It seems
That's
like
exactly it.
naturally. So, like, is that fair to describe that? Like, you don't even
It's almost
realize
as if the
you're
Heart
using
of Darkness is just
darkness.
Thaddeus's default.
It's just kind of your demeanor.
Right, yeah.
And I've gotten used to it at this point because, we've been traveling together and everything like that. So, and we're party members. So technically, I'm fulfilling everything in the description right there. I am.
So as you're talking, you arrive at the trade ward and you see this. It's kind of like a quite wealthy, established stall, and you see a lone dwarf, just kind of sat on a chair, having a little toke from a pipe.
Friend Dwarf, we have a shipment to sell and goods we must purchase. I am asking you to deal with me as part of a brother of Moradin so that we can complete this trade.
Steady on, Paladin. We are no friend nor no brother, but I respect that we are both dwarves. What is it that you seek?
Heart
I'm
of
not
Darkness.
used to being interrupted. I may need to kill you before we trade.
Neither do I, so take your words carefully, dwarf.
Are you
I'll
interested
ask you
in my...
again, what is it that you require?
I'm going to... I'm looking to sell and to buy. And I was
What are
under
you
the...
selling, sir?
And I'm looking to... So, out of character, are we setting up... Am I just handing him a shopping list? Hey, this shit is what we need.
Yeah. Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I think you're courting right now, is
But
what
if
it
you're-
sounds like to me.
If you're,
Yeah.
I'm confused by what you meant when you said you were selling. So that's kind of why he was.
We do have this stuff aboard the ship
Nope,
that I
we
thought
took
we
care of
had
that.
to...
That
Well-
was that
Okay,
was
yeah,
our
that's fair.
hand
Yeah.
waved.
So this
okay.
is just for purposes of the quest.
Well, we can say that, like, maybe this part of RP does a bit of that, and that's okay. We'll just sort of say
Sure.
that Thaddeus describes to him what it is you guys are selling. He will
Right.
say, okay, I'll take this X, Y, and Z. And
Right.
then we move.
I assume that we were arranging that,
Sure.
not doing the role play of that piece, but it was part of this transaction.
I can buy these armors and furs from you. Yes, I can find good trade for those. What else do you need, sir?
The main thing we need to do is fulfill this shopping list, and I'll hand him the parchment.
On the top it
And-
says "Kill the bearer of this message."
If it does, I'm coming back for you because you're the one that arranged this.
So, do you think you'll be able to get us everything on that list?
And he just sort of holds the scroll up. What did you say? How many shipments?
We need at least this one, and we have reason to believe that there may be future shipments if this one goes well. The original supplier has failed to complete their job.
He reaches into a drawer and pulls out some parchment, sort of begins writing a few things down. Yes, I should be able to fulfill perhaps 2 of these. And he sort of puts a piece of paper in front of you. Sign here, please.
What am I signing?
That you are agreeing to purchase my goods, Dwarf. Have you never done a trade before?
What
Heart of
does it
Darkness.
say?
Yeah, Heart
So
of
it's
Darkness.
like
Use Heart of Darkness on the piece of paper.
it's kind of like to kind of abbreviate. It's like I, messenger, hereby agree that these goods will be bought in accordance with blah 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 blah. Blah. So it's kind of like just a sort of a very civil agreement of I'm going to send these goods to you and you're going to buy them off me. If you don't buy them off me, you owe me X, Y, Z. Not
Right.
you, but the
Right.
person on behalf of
Right.
the person.
And I guess that's when I check that it is a contract that I am just power of attorney doing for Nalasker.
Roll insight.
Yeah.
And secondarily, that
Also, I'm kind of peeking over while this is all going over. I see him reading over the contract, and despite the fact that it looks relatively simple,
So,
the details seem to be overwhelming. So I go ahead and give guidance as well. I cast guidance on him.
So you can do that
Is it,
advantage and then add a d4.
is it
Kevin.
safe to say that this contract was written in blood?
No.
at advantage, so I would roll a second one of those.
Not
And then you added.
Okay.
You can add.
Isn't
a d4.
ink just plant blood, though, really?
Okay, and then you add a d4.
Try, and I'm just shitty at this. There you go.
Hey.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's
So you take a long, hard read of the contract in front of you, and you see that everything seems to be, as it should be. It's all in accord.
and the prices are reasonable for
yeah,
whatever
everything is fine.
Nalasker expected.
Yeah, that's it. They're maybe a little bit higher, but it's Waterdeep. It's an expensive, large city of splendor. You kind of sort of, you're kind of okay to let him pay that extra because you're doing work for him.
It's not totally unexpected.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
This guy's probably just trying to push a little bit more that he can get. So
All right, I will sign it.
great. Okay.
Does anything happen after he signs it? Like a portal to hell open beneath him or a demon?
Thanks, lad. And he takes the scroll from you and he sort of winds it up, puts it in his pocket. He takes out another scroll. You see him sign the bottom. He winds it up, hits it with a stamp, which is like one of those wax seals, and passes it to you. And that's my half dwarf. Take this back to your business associate, and we shall make our delivery as quickly as we can. Please now leave my stall, for I have people to serve that are not as boring as you.
Commerce happens. It's even worse.
Have you thought about your future with the Lord Moradin? And
Are you still here? You appear to be still here, dwarf. Please, and he turns to Dolphidius and says, "Please escort your friend away from my stall. He does not seem to understand simple dwarvish common."
I look over, and Thaddeus is still trying to make direct eye contact with you, despite the fact that you're clearly facing me and talking to me. So I say, I think our job here is done, Thaddeus. I think Moradin would be glad.
Thank you, cleric. And he turns away.
our job is far from done here, but I'll save that for another day.
And this is
Okay.
a barbarian.
Yeah. Not a barbarian.
All right. You have inherited one signed contract.
Sweet. Quest complete.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Is that level 8 now?
No.
the entire damp cult for level 7,
You
and
know what it is, though?
one signed contract later for level 8.
He just
Yeah.
wants 2 casts of polymorph. Is what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there anywhere in the city where we might be able to perhaps hire any sort of high-level magic user that might be able to use polymorph, for example, on one of our party members?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
If you necessarily needed to do that, yeah.
we don't need
All
to
right.
do it right this second, but it's an idea.
Well,
You're
while
aware.
Thaddeus and Chakolth are getting dinner, I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'd like to spend, if they're going to have a grudge match, I'd like to have some time at a Shrine of Moradin somewhere in town.
Okay, so Thaddeus and Dolphidius return to the ship where Tim and Chakolth are present.
Okay.
Explain the situation with the contract. And then
Good work. Then we're ready to leave.
presumably Tim and Dolphidius decide they want to go find a polymorph magic user.
Yes.
Is this gonna take
And
long?
this-
Please explain that to the party in character. I am excited to hear this.
Now I'll take him out in a matter of seconds. You see, by the time that the rat gets his fangs into the rabbit, it's almost all over.
I don't think you appreciate the effect of inordinate size. The fact that a rabbit is easily 2 to 5 times the overall mass of a mouse/rat means it will be no problem.
Maybe before the rat's eaten half of it.
Only from behind.
Only from that.
That's what you've been talking. That's what JoINrbs has been saying. Only from behind.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. At advantage. So where should we go? Where can we find ourselves a magic user? Do we know of any places that might be worth looking?
Do I have
Yeah.
any friends, any connections?
Well, actually, I want to. While we explain the grudge match, I want to invite any of the other party members to attend, potentially to supervise and watch the match.
Let me check and see if I understand before I commit to this. So we're looking for an incompetent to cast a spell on 2 fools so that they can nip and bite at each other, while I place wagers on which of you is going to die.
Yes.
Can I send someone some my money with someone else and save the time? No,
I think
I don't want any part of this.
Do
No.
Bobbin, Nobbin, Gobbin, and Lobbin want to come?
They're not on the boat. So they've gone off into Waterdeep to,
Are we
you know...
paying them to not be on the boat?
Are we not paying them to not?
You
be
paid
on the
you
boat?
paid them to teach you how to sail
Yep.
and to help you sail. You did not pay them to stay
And
on
we
the
told
boat
them what
and
time
guard it.
we told them what time we're pushing off. If they aren't here by then they'll find their own way back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they are perusing Waterdeep because
Sure.
they've very rarely been here,
They're on shore leave. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
You know that
Jack-
the
I-
Blackstaff Tower, which is up here, is a place of very good magic users and also very, very prominent for a majority of apprentices to be working there and learning magic. There's a scrying chamber that you're aware of. There's a study. There's a parlor. There's, you know, many different level mages. So this is a place that you know that you could go if you wanted to pay someone to polymorph a party member, perhaps.
Okay. Sure.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely. When you list those resources off to me as a wizard, the first thing I think is pay somebody else to polymorph me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna polymorph me, and then
Then
we pay
they
them
will
to
polymorph
polymorph
I think
you.
you probably lose your
Yeah.
concentration as a rat.
Oh,
It's
you're
not
gonna have
concentration. It's not
I see.
concentration.
You're gonna have a rabbit versus rat duel where
Yeah.
you're both the rabbit and the rat.
Yeah, I call
Excellent.
rabbit because the rabbit.
So
That's
one
the
of
only
our
way to
party
settle
members
this once and for
will
all.
be leaving us soon. There must be a winner.
As
end of the
a rat,
polymorph,
am
you
I
come
going to
back
be
with
allowed
your-
to blade song?
Yeah, and just to be clear on the rules of polymorph, just so I understand them correctly, you do come back with whatever your HP was previous to the polymorph.
Yeah, just come back again.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's true polymorph that turns you into the actual creature forever, right?
I don't think
I
we have that. I want to make
We
sure
don't
no one's
expect that.
accidentally casting that on us either for this.
What's it cost? Give me a price.
It's gonna be so fucking expensive.
You know, this reminds me of the time that rabbit snuck into the camp and bit Logan right in the face. It was like it was possessed. We never got to perform an exorcism on the damn thing, though. Logan fell backwards into the fire, burnt himself half up, and the rabbit died. It was a delicious rabbit, but poor Logan was never the same. He never got dates after that. It's a fiasco.
Tough to follow that.
That's the most you've ever shared with me, Thaddeus.
I can't wait to
I
rewatch
feel like
this
you're finally
episode.
emotionally opening up.
Listen to
I
that
want to
memory.
thank you for that.
Half the
I feel
forest.
emboldened.
As
by
I'm
the
here
story.
looking through Google trying to find the cost of a spell, I hear an amazing set of Kevin lyrics. I was like, I can't wait to hear that when I watch this video back. What level spell is polymorph?
4.
It's level 4. It requires a caterpillar cocoon to cast. So it's not like an expensive spell to cast. But it does require some expertise to understand.
It's going to cost you over 1,000 gold.
Well, we have party resources for emergencies. Is this an emergency?
Unless you had someone there that was perhaps going to help persuade this person.
I am planning.
I will persuade the person. Shut up, Chakolth. Listen to me.
I was
Young
planning on
wizard.
coming along.
No, no. I think that just the comedy of the death match, almost any wizard would say,
Absolutely. And I know wizards. I know wizards. Young wizard, have you ever wondered to yourself whether a rat or a rabbit would victor in a fight to the death? Well, many wizards have asked this question, but never before has the research been done and recorded, and this is your chance for fame. For fame and respect in the scientific animal battling community. Think of all of the animal battling rings that would applaud you for your efforts in the future.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, 950.
Dolphin's with you, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to roll persuasion?
I will cast one of the polymorphs. I merely require you to polymorph my party member
You can
or
roll that
myself.
at advantage, though.
I roll persuasion.
No, Steve.
Steve?
Yeah.
I
I'm just
do
checking, because you're there, you can
Since
still...
me, Dolphin, that would be a good
Yeah,
idea.
I'm going to use guidance still. Yeah.
So you kind of sidle up to him.
"Oh, for fuck's sake!"
You sidle up to Tim, and you gently place your hand on his shoulder, sort of gently patting him, and sort of giving him that guidance.
Oh, no.
As Tim professes this story, this amazing rabbit versus rat.
It
It's
can't
like
be
a wrestling
performance,
match.
it's
It's almost
persuasion.
like a,
It's performing.
the biggest rivals of eternity is how Tim
down
feels he's describing it. And the mage just kind of looks at him sternly and is like, "You want me to do?"
Oh, we got one of the nerdy mages.
We're gonna cast this for
You got any cool friends? You don't have any friends, do you? Come on, Dolphidius. We'll find a less nerdy mage.
intimidation at disadvantage.
And oh, I didn't actually care about this guy anymore. I'm ready to leave.
Well, let's see if intimidation works.
You're just not very nice, are you, sir? There's no need for this. I was perfectly happy to help you. And he sort of walks away.
There's nobody else present.
I thought you were
The
negotiating.
nerdy maid wanders off.
All right. Well, you try to sell it to the next guy, all right, Dolphidius?
Is there anybody else available?
Oh yeah, there's like, you see apprentices all over the place. You see there's a couple of like very, very well-robed people that you presume to be either, seniors or at least
You gotta
juniors.
get these mages. After hours, they're out there in the pubs drinking and letting their robes down. Let me tell you. Inside the tower, though, they're a little bit, stiff collar.
Can I roll perception maybe or insight to figure out who looks the most party oriented of all of the
Sure,
scholars
perception
present?
sounds fine.
Yeah.
That's the appropriate use of that skill. Who looks like the biggest partier of the group?
Oh yeah, you see, there was a guy that was like, you can tell that he was listening in on you guys, and he was like very eager to be like, oh yeah, rat versus rabbit. I'm down with it.
I kind of looking around.
So you
I'm
make eye contact with him,
Yes,
and
I
he's-
make eye
he
contact.
kind of like looks at you, and he's like, and he
And I look back at him and I
sort of
go,
stands up.
I go,
and he,
I go
like
RVR.
a lion, he gets like all prideful. His chest sort of
Yeah.
pops up, and he sort of strides over to you and goes, "Yeah, I could maybe help you."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm assuming that you leave the tower and go to some sort of fight club, right? There's like a
Fight club.
and there's a bunch of like people who are
Whoa! And he like
half
just goes,
naked and they're cheering
we
us
don't-
on and
Whoa! Shh,
Yeah.
don't talk
I-
about that.
I take my hand and I kind of place it on Tim behind me as if to kind of like quiet him, just kind of like in a
Don't be
solid
so
gesture.
loud, Mr. Elf. We don't talk about this. And he sort of like he beckons you
Yeah.
sort of outside.
It's not like it's a library or anything, is it? Oh.
So, I
No,
responded,
it's not
"Hush,
a
don't
library.
go."
It's a tower, where all the stiff upper lip mages go.
I go, so RVR, how much is that? How much is that costing us? If we just need one of the R's, we're only looking for the rat part.
For persuasion.
Sure.
All right, lad. I'll cut you a great deal. 500 gold pieces.
That is a great deal.
It's a pretty good deal for getting turned into a rat.
Look, let me level with you. I'm gonna beat the shit out of this little kid, and you're gonna make thousands of gold just taking bets and betting on me.
Could you talk a bit quieter, please?
This is just the level that I talk. This is basically whispering from me. You're gonna have to deal with it.
He's
All right.
being
Sort of
honest.
pulls you closer into this, the quieter area, like away from as many people as he can. He seems a bit like, shh, keep it down.
We can absolutely fix the fight. The thing is, we're not gonna pay you a cent. This is honestly the attraction of the century that you're dealing with right now, and you should be paying us.
So you should roll persuasion.
I was just being honest. I wasn't trying to persuade him.
Yeah, but he needs a bit of.
You guys are. Fuck.
Right.
I'm
Look,
quietly I'm quietly listening. I'm there, but just happily listening.
I
Oh,
understand.
you're here?
Yeah.
Some people like rabbits, some people like rats. Each man's of their own. I'll cut you a great deal. 250 gold. Final offer.
What is that, like?
You have to do it, right?
Greater healing
That's,
potion?
I mean, that's how much was it before? 1,000?
It's put
That's a
this way.
steal.
Like my magic
No, no,
is
the
on
If you
way-
demand.
get it 3/4 off, that's a massive
Sure.
bargain.
It works like this.
Yeah.
Basically, the next item you each want, you're now not going to have that by a small amount of money each. So it works out fine. I think you should do it. I think you're here.
That
and you should do
depends,
it.
because I think Dolphin and I are going to have lots in this, and whoever wins will actually come out ahead.
That could be
Yeah,
true.
I agree.
Yeah. Now I think that's. I think that's.
Loser,
the
I
thing.
think loser sacrifices their next magical item.
I think you go look. Are you going to go to an actual arena and
Nope,
take
we're doing
bets?
it
We need to get a controlled space. Yes,
It's-
I
they're
want to
gonna be
have
this
fair.
big. We'll use like the fucking corner of the room. It will be fine. It will be like a.
That
Yeah,
will
but-
work as long as we wall off that corner of the room with.
You need to have people to bet, though. You need to go somewhere where there are bettors.
No one's gonna bet on this.
See, and
stupid
that would
fight.
actually subsidize
No
the
one's
cost.
going
We
to bet
make
on this.
So as
Now
we
it's gonna
are
pay the
saying-
money or what?
Imagination.
So is it fair to say that we could charge folks to watch this?
Look,
No.
mate, Look,
think
mate,
we could.
there's no bets until the match is set. You gonna pay me or what?
Absolutely, but
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
control the venue.
Right, this way then.
No, we control the venue.
No, he might have an in.
I was
You
gonna
want to
say
make a brand new venue?
He's
and
got
I've
our
already
goal
got
right now.
crowds of people ready for you, sir.
Crowds of fucking people.
Well, tell the crowds of people to come to the boat. It'll be 1 gold piece for entry.
No.
Fight goes down in 2 hours.
No.
The dwarves will serve concessions.
No. Just. You're gonna get your fight here. Or you're probably not gonna get it at all.
Look,
You
mate,
want your fight?
you either come to my place or there's no deal. You're all insight.
This guy absolutely wants to go on the boat with us. I can just tell you right now.
You feel like if you refuse him now, he will not help you anymore.
This guy's an idiot. This guy's passing up the opportunity of a lifetime.
He
Boats
wants
are too public. We can't
He
have
wants-
animals
I think-
fighting on a boat. You know how much racket that will make?
Tim,
He wants
Tim,
to
We have a
take you-
special place for these
been-
kind of ventures.
Come on, Dolphidius, let's go.
it's been almost 12 hours since we had this idea. We need to get this over with.
That's a good point.
This is your last chance, boys.
I have
Go back
a
inside now.
long-term memory.
I'll follow.
Let's go.
Are we going to be joined by Chakolth and Thaddeus?
I am
No,
coming.
I
in.
have no part of this. I'm off praying to Moradin for
Take
your.
this little 5-minute walk, and you end up in this seedy, strange-looking area, and there's these people sort of stood in almost like a circle, as if waiting for something.
This is
Festering souls. I'm praying for your festering souls this
All
moment.
right, lads. Which one of you wants to be the rabbit or the rat or whatever the fuck?
Rabbit.
Well,
Rabbit.
One of
that right there would be the rabbit, and I would be the rat.
you want to go first then, Mr. Tim? Was it?
Yep. That's my name, Tim. What is it?
Well, he has to cast it on me first because he can't cast polymorph on me once it's a rat.
Dolphidius is talking. I'll turn him into a rabbit.
Obviously, Dolphin is willing, and he turns into a rabbit.
Obviously.
And this mage walks up to Tim, gives him this strange sort of narrowed-eyed look, gently puts his hand on his head, and goes,
That's made armor on myself.
"Good luck, my friend." And he just sort of clamps his fist, and Tim becomes a rat.
What did you cast on yourself? Excuse me?
He's cheating. He cast an armor spell on himself.
Okay.
Well, I think that now that Tim's done that, we obviously know the answer to this fight, probably.
No, we don't. We have to roll the dice.
I'm considering fireballing the arena.
That's how the campaign ends. Mage armor.
Okay, well,
Rats definitely have a character sheet. Rabbits do not.
rats have an AC of 10.
So
with
what's their
hit
dex?
points of a 1d4 minus 1.
1d4 minus
What
1.
if he-
So if I roll...
So,
Easy game.
I get to
Rabbit
roll. Come on.
wins.
I have...
so who's the rat?
I'm the rat.
So Tim has 3 health and 10 AC.
2, I think.
Two
I didn't have the minus
Alright,
1.
2 health,
How much dex do I have?
10 AC. You have 11.
So I have 13 dex with my mage armor.
13 armor.
You have
13 AC, right?
2 strength, 2 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 4 charisma. You can do a bite, which has +0 to hit and does 1d1 piercing damage.
Once they polymorphed, I'd like to approach the guy and see what he would charge me to cast Dispel Magic on Tim's armor.
Oh, I'd at least wait until round 2.
All right.
So
While you're
rabbit-
working out what dolphin is, I'm going to attack him with bite.
rabbits have an armor class of 12.
Wait, I have to roll a d20 as well.
Make
They
this
have
quick because Kevin's
Oh.
got to go. So.
Fuck!
So you
There's so
roll
much-
a d20 minus 4
Okay.
to hit. Not you, Dolphin. This is
Oh.
Steve to hit you.
I missed.
He rolled a
You
5.
missed.
Yeah. A 9 minus 4.
So then Dolphin rolls a
Eyes,
d20
though, I can maneuver better than he can.
minus 4 to hit Tim, who has an AC of what have you got now with mage armor?
13.
13.
Isn't that what he said?
Yep.
So d20 minus 4. You have to beat 13.
Do you
Dolphin.
have a verbal component?
Mage armor?
No, Blade Song. I'm wondering if I can cast it. as a
Dolphin
weapon.
hits Steve.
I rear back and I pounce, and I attempt to bite, but
1d1 damage if you roll that.
yeah. Let's see. How much do I roll?
1d1.
1d1.
It's a 1.
It's a 1. Yeah.
What was Steve's health?
So I'm at 50% health.
Steve is on 1 health.
All right, that's the end of round 1. All right, in the corner.
Round two.
Chakolth, are you like psyching me up?
Yeah, I cast Mage Hand and I slap you back and forth across the cheek. Not hard enough to do damage, but just kind of to wake you up. You know, use the Mage Hand to wipe the blood out of your eyes and kind of, the rest of it there. And
Get the sense that
I
I'm.
find
Don't worry, Chakolth. I'll show this newcomer who's boss. Don't worry.
I wriggle my nose.
I do the same. I'm playing like manager on both sides. I go over the same and I'm like, you got it, Dolphidius. You hit him so fucking hard. He's reeling. You got him on the ropes. You can do this.
I sit quietly as a rabbit.
All right. So everyone, can you both make a dex roll?
Yeah.
So dex, so like a d20 plus your dex mod. So 14 for Tim. All right. So Dolphin
sorry, I
goes
was dex
first.
save, sorry.
He doesn't have +2. Come on.
Oh, So Tim goes first.
Okay. Oh!
Oh shit! He crits him.
Come on!
What's that? 2d1?
Yeah. Doubles the dice though. So it's 2. What's your health, Dolphin?
I don't know.
Dolphins is the same. He has.
Oh, so I'm down. I'm dead.
Well,
So you describe your
roll?
attack,
D1?
Jorbs?
he does.
I come at you from the front, where the rabbit is, and I claw at your eye and blind you completely. And once you are disabled, I set about biting at your neck.
No, as soon as he's disabled,
Chakolth.
he immediately turns into a human being again and
Chakolth
rolls
and
over you.
Thaddeus see this tiny rat dash over to this tiny rabbit and rip its eyes out. And a moment later, this rabbit morphs into the form of Dolphidius, screaming in pain. But absolutely fine.
I'm just yelling very loudly for like what appears to be at least 10 to 20 seconds long, at the end of which is, I can't believe I was wrong.
A second later, the rat turns into Tim.
All right, and that's what we're going to call this episode for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as Tim and Dolphidius did, and the rest of us as well. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.